So in this video, I'm going to take you through a little kind of mini exercise. If there's anyone you kind of still are yet to resolve fully what happened or what didn't happen, especially, you know, classic example, like if you were sexually abused or something like that, and you still feel you haven't fully forgiven your mum for not listening to what you said, or you haven't forgiven your dad for not believing you, whatever it might be. This is a great way. If there's still things you want to say to someone and you haven't got the courage to say anything to them, obviously that could be reflected in your reality, either in your job or your relationships. There might be people that are showing up. Maybe, for example, if you work in care, classic example, this person you're caring for, you may be feeling triggered of how they've been treated, or you might look out into the world and the schooling system really triggers you because you see kids not being educated the way they should be, or whatever it might be. So particularly if you're noticing in your external world a trigger which is going on for you of how other people are being treated, and you can check in and go, actually, what is it that they're not getting that I think they should be? Or what is it, how they might be feeling, you resonate with that, not being heard, not being seen, not being believed, not being listened to, not being understood, whatever. And then of course, obviously, if it's in your direct relationships, in your family, if you're your parents, you're feeling like they don't listen to you, of course, it's never just a case of in that present moment what is going on. For you to be triggered and for you to mind how they show up or not show up for you, it always goes back to something earlier. Otherwise, it wouldn't trigger you. You would feel okay about it, or it wouldn't bother you, or whatever. So, the first thing you're gonna do, let's just use mum or dad. Let's just use mum as an example. So first thing you're gonna do, write a letter to them about how you feel, okay? And if you're not sure where this feeling comes from, okay? Here's a simple exercise to kind of get you into that zone. So if you close your eyes, and then imagine your mum, let's just say it's your mum that's triggering you, or you feel frustrated with. Breathe into your body now. And as you breathe into your body now, just imagine your mum and you're still feeling that trigger. Just ask yourself, now, how am I feeling? How am I feeling right now? Whatever comes up for you. And then ask yourself, around that feeling, what does that mean to me? And you can ask, what does it mean? What am I making this mean about me? What am I making this mean about me? And then the next question to ask to really get you connected to it then is, how old do I feel? And then whatever age pops up for you, and then ask yourself, let's just say as 6-year-old you, breathe into your body as 6-year-old you now, seeing your mum in front of you, and then just ask yourself, what is it I secretly want to hear or see from my mum? It could be a dad or whoever this pertains to. What is it I secretly want to hear or see or be shown or experience or feel or know from my mum? How would that allow me to feel? What would that mean to me? And if you're still not connected to a particular scene or a scenario, you probably are by now, but if you're not, you can just ask, when did I feel this? When did I first feel this? Or when did I last feel this? And just see where you got taken to. And then whatever scene, whatever memory, whatever's ringing true for you now, and you ask, what does I secretly want to hear? What does I secretly want to see, feel from this person? You can ask yourself as well, what would I secretly love to say? And just see what flows. So once you've got that, and you may have already been there straight away, but just to get you kind of more connected to that age of you that feels that trigger, that feels that lack of resolution, not being heard, whatever, from your parent. Now, the first thing I invite you to do, because it might be that you feel agitated, that you want to have a conversation, or you know, your mum has never said sorry for the fact you're abused, or you know, your brother has never admitted to beating you to a pulp, or whatever it might be. And it hasn't always got to be intense stuff like that, but normally it is with this kind of thing. First thing I invite you to do then, get a pen and paper and just let it flow. Just feel yourself still as that age of you, whatever age you are now, and just write a letter. Dear mum, and just write a letter now. Feel free to pause this video, write a letter on how you feel, what it is you want to say, what happened and how it felt. what you always wanted to say, what you always wanted them to say, what it would meant to you. Just write this letter. Just go for it. Just keep writing and seeing what flows. So that's step one. Feel free to pause this video anytime. Step two then. And here's the thing, what we're going through these steps because it might be that you might have a human conversation to have. There might be a human conversation to be had. Or it might be that you go through these steps and then it's dissolved. That layer of acknowledgement in yourself is dissolved to such a degree you don't feel the need then to have a human conversation. Because here's what will happen. Once you've shifted yourself, they'll either change or they'll dissolve out in reality, or they may still show up the same, but you won't feel triggered anymore. Or with all that, and we'll cover it in the last point, there might be some boundaries or some new actions, new embodiments moving forward for you that is part of your growth as well. So the next thing is forgiveness now. So what I invite you to do, close your eyes. And even if you're not feeling this, just say the words. The words are powerful, and you can do this every single day. It's amazing. At least for 2 weeks, if you've got someone that's really triggering you, I'd invite you to do this for 2 weeks, this next part. And it's amazing how they can show up differently and how you can feel differently. So now let's just say your mum, or your parent, your dad, whoever, caregiver. Just see now your mum stood in front of you. And as you breathe into your body now, seeing your mum in front of you. As you breathe deep into your body now, imagine expanding breath towards your mum. And noticing how you feel. And now what you've just covered in your letter now, say that to your mum now. And let your mum know what happened, what it is you needed. And now just see your mum in front of you. As you breathe into your body, as you expand your breath into your mum now. Just ask now the younger her, which created her showing up this way, the younger her to step out. And as you just see the younger her, however old she looks now, maybe it's a child, maybe it's a teen, maybe it's an adult, whatever age. Now as you see that younger child, expand your breath, and as you breathe, you imagine your breath expanding into that younger version of her. And just ask now as you expand your breath, what is it you need? And as you breathe out, as you sigh, just see her lips moving and just see the little girl in her expressing what she needs. And as you expand your breath now, just ask again, as you expand your breath into her, just ask, what is it you went through that made you show up this way for me? And just be with your breath and just let whatever awareness pop in. Maybe even get taken to a scene. Just see her lips moving. And now I just want you to see now, either the little girl or the younger child moving back into the parent, or you can just leave them as they are, wherever feels true to you. I want you now just to look at your mum now with that awareness of what she went through, and just say to your mum out loud or in your mind, Mum, I love you. I'm so sorry that we both went through what we went through. And now all my life, and just explain to her now, all your life, how it's affected you, what you went through. And it breaks my heart, because all I ever wanted from you, and just explain to her now all you've ever wanted to hear, see, feel from her. But I forgive you because, and just explain to her now why you forgive her. You've seen what she went through, you've felt what she's went through. And even if you didn't get anything intuitive, you didn't get anything pop into your awareness, your knowingness, feel into a reason. Just let it flow, let the words flow, just be with the breath. And now say, I forgive myself for holding on to this all this time. I'm free. You're free. We're both free. Thank you. And now just go and hug your mum. Maybe even hug the little girl in her. And that's it. You can literally do that every single day. It's super, super simple. And if you're not getting anything right now, you didn't get intuitively what happened, trust me, you keep doing this, you keep being present with the breath, things will pop into your awareness. You'll get insights about her life, about your parents' life, whatever it might be. And it's a great healing process for your ego and the little girl, the little boy in you to feel, oh, okay, I get it, that's why. Because here's the thing, your parent can only express and give you the amount of love at the capacity that they've experienced it themselves. Okay? Unless they're super aware like you and kind of go on the courageous journey. But most people haven't, especially from the older generation. So, once you've done that, so that's step 2. And I told you this is going to be a whole encompassing thing to really resolve things with someone. Third aspect is non-attachment manifestation. Now I've got a few separate videos on this, but essentially non-attachment manifestation is tuning into what is it you hope to feel, experience with someone, and the idea of not getting that or getting that and the attachment there. So what you're going to do is now we just use the example of your mum again. See your mum in front of you, and as you breathe into your body now, just imagine now expressing what it is you want to say. So whatever you've written on your letter, expressing to her now what it is you want to say, what happened to you, why. And as you say that now, I just want you to picture her responding in the most perfect way possible. And now as she responds in the most perfect way possible, however that is for you, I want you to breathe into your body now. And just check in with, how does this allow me to feel? What does this mean to me? And write that down. And now as you picture your mum, I want you again now to visualize, again expressing everything that happened, all the things you wanted to say. And now I want you just to see her responding and just completely rejecting you, completely not showing up in the way you want. As you breathe into your body, really noticing now, how does that feel? What does that mean to me? And now write that down. And all we're doing, and again, you can do this every single day, is super powerful. Whether it's a positive or negative, doesn't matter. It's a factor of attachments. Fear of being received in a certain way, and then attachment to wanting a certain outcome creates interference. So when we express to people, if we are coming from that attachment place, their egos on some level pick up on that. Because our egos are at play, our ego has attachment. We're not in non-attachment. We're not coming from pure, unconditional love. So doing this every single day, massively powerful. Anything you need, anything you want, can't do it too much. I would invite you to do this at least for a few days and see, and whatever you get, whether it's a really positive outcome or a negative outcome, feeling or meaning, just ask yourself then, okay, you can feel the density, you can feel the intensity of the attachment. Ask yourself then, when does this come from? When did I first feel this way? Etc, etc. So that's step 3. And now, step 4. And to be honest with you, it's probably unlikely, having done those first 2 steps, especially if you give it a few days or maybe a couple of weeks, keep working on it, you probably won't then feel the need to do this next step. But if you do still feel the need to do this next step, wording is imperative. So the next step would be then to actually have a conversation with your mum or your dad or whoever, the caregiver, parent, brother, whoever, boss, someone at work, relationship, whatever it might be. So the key thing to illustrate is you're going to share, so let's just say with your mum, you're going to say, hey mum, I really would love to have a conversation, and let her know. The first thing you need to do is let her know, look, I don't need anything from you. Even though you might do, and even though you might want an outcome, it's to set the tone, so bring her ego barriers down. So you're like, I don't need anything. I just want to share something with you that happened to me and how I feel around it and my fears around it. I just want to be heard, but I don't need anything from you, or whatever it might be, okay? So you would say, like, you know, when this happened, it made me feel X. I just want to let you know that sometimes when you show up like Y, it makes me feel some way. I know it's got nothing to do with you, it's all my stuff, and I don't need anything from you. But the fears I have around sharing this bring up X, Y, and Z. I won't be accepted, da da. But again, I don't need anything from you. I just need to express this, da 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 da. So just coming from that place of it's about your feeling, you don't need anything from them. This is just what you need to be heard, and just express this. But it hasn't got to be an outcome. Because people go into trying to fix and solve and all that kind of stuff. People feel like I wasn't a good enough mum, all this kind of stuff. So just relaying that you don't need anything from them. And then if you feel super crazy, you can let them know, I would love to feel X. I don't have to go from it, but that is what I'd love to hear, or love to know, or love to feel, da, 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 if you're feeling super courageous. But again, for me, most people won't get to this point. You've done the first 3 steps, the attachment will dissolve. But the last step, I'm going to highlight, the last step might be with the awareness, especially point 3 of when I first felt this, when I last felt this, where this comes from, the decisions I made, why this is showing up, is it might be that you have certain boundaries. And boundaries aren't about saying to someone, hey, this is how it's going to be. You have to do X, Y, and Z for me, or don't show up like this, or don't speak to my life. It's a decision in yourself. You know, when I was in my 20s, I had physically and verbally abusive girlfriends. Now, that wouldn't even show up in my reality. It's not that I'd hit them back or tell them fuck you or whatever, just but it's just in my energy. It's like, no, there's no way. There's my worth and my deserving is in a different place. So it's more of a declaration and decision in your own energy of, this is where I'm at, this is what I'm willing to put up with. There's no crossing that line. And it can be hard, especially something like sexual abuse, where we've had our worth stripped from us. So I would just invite you, what is that declaration with awareness of, this is what I've put up with, or this is how it's been. What is it, not just what I want, but what is the declaration to myself, or from here on in, this is how it's going to be in my reality and nothing less. Because when you make that decision, then if there's still stuff to be acknowledged, still stuff to be worked on, still truths to be spoken, whatever, you will get that insight. But you need to make that decision so the universe can listen and reflect that in your environment. But if you just acknowledge these things but then don't actually make a declaration to yourself of how you want it to be, it can be very easy for your ego to pull you back into your old reality. So I hope that makes sense. Like I said, if you wanted this, the most powerful thing with anyone you feel that haven't got resolution around or can't forgive, do this for a couple of weeks. You will feel completely different, or they will show completely different, or both. I promise you, I've known many people that has been the case with just a couple of these things. Never mind all of these points. Any questions, let me know. And yeah, just remember, you have the power to change your reality. People can genuinely show up completely different in your reality. You are the leading edge of consciousness in your reality, in your game. On a soul level, they love you, they are there for you. They took one for the team for you to have the experiences you have, not the other way around.